Hello, everyone. I'm Sinem from Turkey, and I'm an expressive arts senior coach and senior facilitator, and I mostly work with expressive arts in corporate contexts. And Bridget.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bridget. I'm one of the executive co-chairs on the IATA board, and I'm an expressive arts therapist as well. We are honored today to welcome Katrina Plato and Shemaya Blauer as two of our pre-conference presenters. And Sinem, would you like to share a bit about what?
Yes, sure. The 16th International Conference name is the Expressive Arts as Doorways to Healing. And the pre-conference will be the 19th of June. So, yeah, here we are, our pre-conference presenters, Katrina and Shemaya.
Great. So I'm Shemaya Blauer. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. And in my experience, I draw from a lot of experience as a hospice social worker in all aspects of hospice, most recently doing grief work. And I've always brought art and different modalities into my work, which I continue to do as I move onward.
And Katrina Plato, I'm living now in Phoenix, Arizona, and I am also on the board of IATA. I'm the regional co-chair with Aisha Radwan of the regional committee. I'm also the co-chair of this conference with Susan Johnson. I've been a member of IATA since at least 2000, so 25 years, and it's part of what I live and breathe is being part of this association. I love the international aspect. And personally, I'm a registered art therapist. I've been practicing art therapy for 36 years, and then expressive arts therapy. Also, I have a doctorate from Appalachian State and a doctorate in expressive arts from EGS. So right now I'm using it privately as well as with an IOP, working online with clients. And
we have questions, right, Bridget?
Before we dive into some specific questions, would you mind introducing the title of your workshop and sharing a little bit about what you'll be offering for this pre-conference?
Yes, I just jumped in, but I forget, right?
Okay.
That's cool. Yes, exactly. Please.
The first part of our title is Embracing the Shadow, and that's why I mentioned Shemaya, because she's very gifted at exploring the shadow. Both of us are. But the workshop is a combination of touch drawing, the modality of touch drawing, and the modality of soul collage. And we'll share more about why we came to that. But the workshop itself is I'm so grateful that we have a full day, because this is a type of workshop we could easily spend a weekend or a week. But we're going to introduce touch drawing, the modality of touch drawing in the first part, and create touch drawings. I have my board right here. And we'll share in a little bit more about what that is. And then we will, and in that process, Shemaya can add more about this, but we'll also introduce the concept of the shadow. So psychologically, what is the shadow, and why do we want to go into our shadow? How is it healthy and healing to go into our shadow? So we'll make images that we then can use for a collage known as the soul collage. And the soul collages are this size. So this is an example of incorporating both touch drawing into a collage. And also collages are this size. So everyone will come away from the workshop with at least one soul collage. In this time where so much feels like chaos and so much is coming apart and unraveling into new forms, it's my hope that people will come together and into this workshop and find some inspiration on how to center and be in them, and then go out from there.
Yeah. And so I feel like a lot of my work, a lot of my interpersonal work has been around my shadow and my process of that recently uncovered the fact that that I walk I walk in a river of intergenerational trauma, and realizing that we all carry the DNA from our ancestors, and so that was very revelatory and a very long, painful, and amazing healing process for me. And it gives reason for why my life was how it was, and it gives me a lot of seeds towards a very new and different future at my age, right, at where I am in life right now. And so that's why we bring in this intergenerational trauma. That's why we bring in the shadow, because the shadow it's not something that we can just take off like a piece of clothing. The shadow is with us. And so the question is, how do we walk with that? And most people, I think that we all tend to hide and discard those parts of ourselves that we really that we don't like, and that creates a kind of a shattered or a unintegrated sense of ourselves. And so these two processes are so potent and so gentle, and ease the way towards us reaching in and finding those hidden parts when they are ready to be seen and to be touched in a very, very sacred and honoring way. And so these two parts can be open and accessible to us bit by bit, slowly, in whatever rhythm, time each person's system has. And so that's my excitement about holding, carrying the shadow and embracing it, and we begin to come towards more of an integrated whole, where we have a greater view of the world, a greater view of ourselves, and a wider perception of the world in a place that we can belong to in a more holistic way.
Oh, what a beautiful explanation and layered workshop and experience. So, Seena, I know we have some other follow-up questions now that we have a sense of what this even means.
Yes,
So,
I'm also touched with the introduction, how the work is really layered, and I have some images still going on towards me, but let's go to the questions. And yeah, how did you decide who to collaborate and collaborate with, and what topic to share? You also give some essence last few minutes, but let's hear more about that.
Yeah, I'd love to go deeper into that. And we've decided I'm going to start with this. Mm-hmm. I'll go with Shemaya. So I'm inspired, Shemaya, to share when we originally met in 1998. I had begun working with Deborah Kopp-Chapin, who founded Touch Drawing, and she had invited me to her second gathering. The Touch Drawing gatherings are every summer on Whidbey Island, north of Seattle. And I heard about Shemaya through Deborah when she shared that in the first, an article about Shemaya's journey to Auschwitz and doing touch drawings at Auschwitz. And Deborah showed me some of Shemaya's drawings. So I met Shemaya's drawings even before I met Shemaya, the person. And we were at that gathering in 1998 together and became soulmate friends, just glued to one another. And we've been doing touch drawing together since then. Long distance. Anyway, there's wonderful ways that we can share the drawing. And then how we came to this workshop is I was working on my doctoral research, arts. I used arts-based research in my doctoral work. And the work that I did, as I was listening to the transcriptions of my participants in my doctoral work, I did touch drawings. I listened to their voice, and then I would make touch drawings. And there were 8 participants in my research. One of those participants introduced us to SoulCollage and did SoulCollage workshops. So I thought it would be really great as a thank you to my participants to take their touch drawings and minimize them, take photographs of them, minimize them, and put them in a SoulCollage. So this is one example of what I did. And I made 8 of these, one each for each participant. So it was combining the SoulCollages I made for that person. And then we made a labyrinth together as a social action for the university, Appalachian State University. We painted this together. And then we also, this is a piece of some of the artwork we did to get made together. So the gifting of these became part of my research of what their response was to receiving these. And I was literally finishing the last sentence of my writing when Shemaya called me and said, I have this idea of combining touch drawing into a SoulCollage. And I was like, what's this? So we, that was, back in like 2014 and, 10 years ago. And we decided to begin working together on what this would be like. So we would meet online and make these drawings and play with together. And we also did in North Carolina, when I was still in Boone, in Charlottesville, was Catherine Anderson is at the time was one of the 15 international SoulCollage facilitators that taught. So we did that workshop together and became certified in presenting and teaching SoulCollage. And then, so that I shared this earlier, but this is one of those examples, I'm sorry for the glare, of bringing my drawings together with some collage images. And this is a hand here to create, to me, it has really a deeper meaning for me to have my own drawings in here. And so it's been a wonderful process. And Shemaya, with anything, as you've already witnessed, things go really deep, and I love being in this collaboration with Shemaya. What?
Yeah, so you can tell that we are so connected. I mean, that story, I mean, when that happened, it was just like, wow, this is just right, and this was one of my first soul collage and touch drawings. And what I did and what it represented is that the touch drawing was all about birth. And for some reason, I just took that little sliver of it and put this piece, on top of it. And it really, to me, it represents the life cycle. It feels like a death card and it feels like a birth card. And for me, it's, totally speaks to my hospice heart, which is embracing the whole life cycle of birth and death. And this other card that I that wanted to be shown, it's a person embracing a heart that's larger than life. And I told Katrina that when I reflected on it after we had met earlier this week, I realized that it really speaks to the process of our workshop, and that is that it was from a series when I was doing series feeling like I didn't have a heart, and it was a very, very painful experience and a really potent experience that I really needed to do these. I really needed to dive into that. And that this card of feeling like, that the heart is bigger than myself, that's where touch drawing led me from that series. And that's the potency of this work. So, yeah.
Wow. What an inspirational journey. I have 3 things, in me. The first, what a co-creation, what an inspirational co-creation, the first. And I really, I would like to honor that. And the other thing is expressive art colleagues, how they found each other internationally, or I think it's not a country states, right? It's a continent. So what a privilege, to finding ourselves as colleagues, and how we inspire each other, and then how we make the journey together also influence our life as friendship or the other, contribution at the same time. So thank you very much for sharing your journey and your transformational process.
So I'm wondering, I feel like I'm already walking away just from this sharing experience with so much. What do you hope your participants of your workshop walk away with? Is there a nugget of wisdom or just a feeling that you want to inspire?
I'll begin again. The one thing that I learned in my research of doing this process, when I met with Deborah Kopf-Chapin to go over with her what we were doing, and I learned from her that in the 1970s, Seena Frost, who's the founder of SoulCollages, called Deborah and asked for permission or had a discussion about the use of the words soul collage, because at the same time, Deborah was coming up with the term of soul cards, which are her cards that she sells that are images of her drawings. So from the beginning, these two processes came out around the same time. So they've been in, you were talking about how the arts bring us together. And Deborah shared with me that both Seena and herself studied with Jean Houston. So Jean Houston was a spiritual ritual teacher for both of them. And then they went from that experience. They didn't study with Jean at the same time, I understand, but they both were part of her training. And then they took that in a very archetypal way of addressing the soul. And so it's, to me, what the pearl of the wisdom I would like people to come away with or to experience. We will bring to them this kinesthetic, hands-on experience, this teaching of this, and then they can carry this dance on. They can carry this blend of these two traditions forward with them.
And I think that I spoke to the pearls of wisdom earlier when I spoke about the hidden parts, and really truly we really hope that people do come away with tools to move towards those hidden parts and to recognize that they are part of us, and the more that we can be in relationship, whether it's by doing art, the expressive arts, or by by whatever way that is healing and supportive, that they can bring that we can all have capacity towards being in the world in a larger way because we are more integrated ourselves.
How does this process touch and access our soul and help us to communicate that part of ourselves through the arts?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So we would like to add in our interview a kind of a playful invitation also. So we think that what might be, and then we thought that, okay, if you two present your workshop without words, through intermodal way, movement, songs, or image, what could it be? So there's an invitation right now for you.
Yeah, so we'd love to do we're both going to do a touch drawing side by side, and then we're going to do a gesture from inspired by one another's touch drawings. And so we'd love to. Wow. We've got to move things around a little bit, but that's what we're going to do and put on a little later.
So everyone that's watching this will get a little preview of how to make a touch drawing. Mm-hmm. And what I like to say when facilitating a workshop is, and this goes well with our conference, is that each time we begin a touch drawing, we're opening a portal. We're opening a door to the soul, to our inner being. And Shemaya, would you be okay to ring the bell again? I say again because we did this earlier.
And so, Katrina, do you want to go first?
I'll go first. You hold up your board.
Okay.
And then I'm going to offer a movement. Ooh. And I'm sitting just because of where I am. Otherwise, I feel I would stand for this one, but I'll just. And then Shemaya.
Oh, I'm really moved to tears. That was really so beautiful. And for those watching, I just want to clarify that that's an intuitive process that you're doing, right? There's nothing planned, but yet your images are so similar.
We found that when we would do this process, Shemaya from Portland and wherever I was living at the time, and we would draw together in the same time, and then we would mail them to one another, and we were amazed at the similarity of images. Very intuitive, very connected. Yeah.
So thank you so much again, Katrina and Shemaya, for sharing this beautiful sort of preview of what your pre-conference experience will be. And please, for all of you watching, sign up for this conference. It's going to be amazing. We have the pre-conference activities on June 19th, and then the conference from the 20th to the 22nd. Please visit iada.org for more information and to sign up, right?
And thank you very much, Katrina and Shemaya, for today.
Yes.
And we really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you for this lovely time together. Lovely meeting you all.